Okay, so this was a research done. It's called the influence of dietary factors in the central nervous system plasticity and injury recovery. Plasticity, as in its ability to mold, change the central nervous system, adapt, pivot. Okay, here's the source, the link of where I'm getting the information from. This was done in June 2021, and it was researched by the Department of Neurosurgery at UCLA. So UCLA department, so pretty much the UCLA, their department. So they did this research, which was really awesome. So they found there are some key nutrition that we all need in order to have a healthy nervous system and to reset your nervous system or reboot your nervous system, right? Everybody's heard of omega-3 fatty acids. That's, fish oil. We've heard of that, right? So it's found in fish. You can see it's wild, especially in wild caught salmon. So that is very true. Salmon is very rich, and it's something that you should eat on a weekly basis, okay? Not everybody likes fish, so there are supplements, but my opinion about, and what we do for our patients in our clinic, we always go diet first and supplement second, okay? You are going to get majority of your you can get majority of your nutrition through your food. Yes, food is not the same as it was 50 years ago, but still, the best source of your nutrition is still food, whole foods. So salmon, if you like sushi, go at it, okay? Just make sure you get good quality sushi. Otherwise, you're gonna start growing some worms, okay? All right, supplementation. So there's different types of omega-3s when you look at supplements, right? You probably heard of EPA, DHA. So for nervous system and also the brain perspective, they have found, the UCLA team found that DHA was better for the central nervous system, right? It's a key component of neuronal membranes at sites of signal transduction at the synapse. Basically, what all that means is it helps improve communication, okay? So you're gonna hear me say that over and over, communication. So the DHA omega-3, it helps you improve your communication within your nervous system, especially within your brain. Now, I'm not gonna say that, it's gonna treat Alzheimer's or even like Parkinson's. Their research does show that it does help. My clinic doesn't treat a lot of that, so that's why I'm not going to speak too much about that. But their research, when you go to this, this is on PubMed, you will see that. Now, what is the dosage that they recommend? Well, actually, they recommend, but the National Institute of Health recommends for 51. If you're older than 51 years old, it's 1.6 grams for males and 1.1 grams for female. That's the standard dose. That is a maintenance dose. A lot of these dietary recommendations, supplement recommendations, they're not what we call therapeutic dosage. They are just maintenance. So it maintains where you're at. If you want to actually start reversing, you will have to increase it. How do you increase? You want to do it slowly. One of the side effects of omega-3s, when you take too much within a short amount of time, is loose stool, diarrhea, GI upsets. So you want to slowly increase it. Usually over-the-counter omega-3s or fish oils, they come in two dosages. One is 500 milligrams. One is 1,000. These are the most common. So 1.6 grams, right? So 1 milligram is this is only 1 gram. So you can get an idea. That's why the bottles, when you buy those bottles, they usually just say 1 tablet a day, right? If you have severe inflammation and severe like neuropathy, tremors, trigeminal neuralgia, severe pain, usually what we recommend for our patients is you start off with 3,000 milligrams per day, which is 1,000. You take 1,000 capsule 3 times a day. So 1 capsule 3 times a day. 1 capsule is 1,000 milligrams. Okay. And then it is safe to take up to 9,000 a day. Now, I'm not saying take 9,000 a day, but I have had patients take up to 9,000 milligrams or 9 grams per day. Again, you need to check, you need to see everybody's body is different. If you start having explosive diarrhea, you need to slow down, okay? Okay, number 3 about, let's see, omega-3s. They help reverse the effects. Let me get a marker. They help reverse the effects of traumatic brain injury by stabilizing levels of molecular systems important for promoting energy homeostasis and reducing oxidative stress. So TBIs are very common these days. Now, brain injury is not necessarily just getting into a car accident. You can have brain injury just from a fall. Your brain, which is like jello within your skull, should not be moving around, and this should not be hitting your skull. You know, every time your brain jiggles around and hits your skull, like whiplash, that is causing a brain injury. It may be minor, but over time, if it doesn't heal within your brain, it becomes something more severe, right? So that's why, you know, even if you've been told you have no brain issues, memory, acuity, you're not, you know, you're still sharp as you were before, I still recommend you take at least a maintenance dose of DHA or fish oil, okay? The results show 3 weeks of fish oil supplemented were sufficient to overcome the effects of concussive injury in rodents. So most of these tests were all done on rats, right? This is in terms of brain plasticity and cognitive function. So if you're, number one, I recommend you take it 1,000 milligrams every single day. But if you're not in the habit of doing that, whenever you have any type of falls, minor, anything that would jiggle your brain, okay? If you had a neck injury, whiplash, falling backwards, even if you hit your head, let's say you were in the kitchen, you left the kitchen cabinet door open and you bent down and you hit the back of your head. I'm pretty sure many of us have done that, okay? That can cause a little brain injury. You need, in that, if you have any of those situations, I recommend you take some DHA, okay? All right, because of the human's body inefficiency in producing the DHA, it's extremely important for success of rehabilitation strategies of central nervous system injury, right? So everybody should just be taking it. And I'll just end with this. Omega-3s offer great neuroprotective potential to help counteract the effects of neurological injuries. So this one is focused more on the central nervous system, but if you have peripheral nervous system problems, you should also, like peripheral neuropathy, you should also be taking at least 1,000 milligrams of fish oil DHA every single day. Neuropathy, we typically will do a fish oil that contains both DHA and EPA, because the EPA is more for the extremities, the peripheral nervous system. DHA is more for the central nervous system. Okay. If I speak too fast, just tell me to slow down and I'll slow down. Otherwise, I will go through this. Okay, the second nutrition that they found that helped the nervous system, central nervous system, was something called polyphenols. I'm sure every one of us have heard of this because it's been made very popular these days. Polyphenols, what are they? They're just chemical substances found in plants. So I'm glad y'all are growing some vegetables because you need lots of plants. 2 main polyphenols that affect the central nervous system: curcuminoids and flavonoids. And so as you can know, we probably heard of curcumin, right? It's found in the plant turmeric, however you pronounce it. The Cleveland Clinic recommends 5,000 milligrams twice per day. So again, it's 1 gram per day. Everybody knows curcumin is phenomenal as an anti-inflammatory. We actually use it in Chinese medicine. We use it, it's called something else. It's actually called Zhanghuang, for those of y'all who can read Chinese, okay? But we use it actually specifically, not just for anti-inflammatory, we use it for neck and shoulder pain. It directly works onto it can guide other neck and shoulders. So some of y'all who may have experienced something called the 50-year-old shoulder, AKA frozen shoulder, right? We use curcumin or turmeric or zhanghuang. We use this herb to specifically help for that 50-year-old shoulder, okay? Jackie put 500, yes, 500 milligrams, not 5,000. So it ends up to be 1,000 milligrams or 1 gram per day. Again, this is a maintenance dose, right? If you are in severe pain, then you can do the same thing like the fish oil. Do 3,000 milligrams per day, which is 1 capsule 3 times a day, right? That's 3 grams. In Chinese medicine, we actually use even more. We would use up, sometimes we would use up to 15 grams a day. That's 15,000 milligrams per day. But here's the thing about it. This is not what I'm recommending y'all do. Because in Chinese medicine, we never prescribe herbs as a single herb. It's always in combination with at least 30, 40, 50 herbs, okay? But so in a formula of 100 grams of herbs, we would put 15 grams of turmeric, and just to guide the other herbs' functions to the shoulder, okay? Flavonoids. These are found in fruits and vegetables. So your berries. This is why berries are so great. Every single dietary plan, detox plan, always recommends people, weight loss plan, always recommends people do berries, because berries have flavonoids, right? Strawberries, blueberries, even green tea and red wine. So they promote neuronal signaling, AKA communication. It increases production of an antioxidant, which antioxidants are there to eat up, they're like Pac-Man. They eat up something called free radicals. Free radicals are basically debris, waste, toxins. When they clump together, does anybody know what happens when free radicals clump together? What does it form? Anybody know? You can type it in the chat if you know. Nobody knows. A tumor. When free radicals clump together over time, it causes a tumor. And some of those tumors are malignant. Exactly, Linda. So these antioxidants are like Pac-Man that eat up these waste to prevent them from clumping together, right? And these flavonoids are also anti-inflammatory agents, decrease inflammation, right? So let's talk about curcumin. It's commonly known, Indian cuisine, right? It functions as an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial agent. So in this specific, this experiment, this research, they found curcumin improves cognitive function in patients with Alzheimer's disease because it improves communication, right? Any type of, even Alzheimer's, it's a lack of communication. They noticed that population of elderly Asians, the assessment of cognitive function with a mental examination test revealed that those who consume curry frequently perform significantly better in comparison with those who almost never ate curry. You see why I said some of y'all are gonna be eating curry after this, right? So curry, now the traditional curry, right? Not like curry that has all of the, I don't know if they put MSG, but chemicals and all that stuff. Traditional curry, right? They use curcumin in it. And if it has that, it actually can improve your cognitive function, it improves your brain function, okay? How long does it take? They found supplementation of curcumin for 3 weeks before and after experimental traumatic brain injury. It only took 3 weeks, 3 weeks of eating curry, okay? It was a lessening of the consequences of the injury of the synaptic plasticity markers in cognitive function tasks. Again, what does that mean? It improved the communication within their brain. Just after 3 weeks of eating curry, right? So everybody should be eating curry every single day, right? In the rat model, curcumin has been shown to assist recover from cerebral ischemia, which is lack of oxygen, brain injury, by preventing blood-brain barrier damage. Blood-brain barrier is super important. Not to go too detailed, but the blood-brain barrier is a strong barrier. It does not allow everything to go into your brain. If our brains did not have this strong barrier, we would like instantly die because of all the toxins that the rest of our body accumulates, right? So this blood-brain barrier is super important to prevent unnecessary harmful toxins, bacteria from entering into our brain, right? And so curry or curcumin can help you strengthen that blood-brain barrier. The next thing, dietary polyphenols, green tea. Yeah, we've all heard of green tea. We've all heard that green tea is so good. Green tea actually is good for the brain, okay? Green tea reduced cognitive deterioration in aging, right? A lower prevalence of dementia is found in Japan because green tea is consumed excessively in Japan, right? Long-term exposure to green tea has shown the potential to reverse some of the degenerative effects of aging in the hippocampus of rats. What is the hippocampus? The hippocampus in our brain controls learning and memory. So if any of y'all are saying like, are having the situation where like, man, my memory is just not as good as it was before, right? How many of y'all have had that, right? I think all of us. So green tea can actually help restore. It can reverse some of the degenerative effects of aging on the hippocampus. So it's learning and memory. Your ability to learn new things is controlled by your hippocampus. Now, before you go out and just start chugging gallons of green tea, let me tell you the side effect of that. There's a book called The Enzyme Factor. It was written by a gastroenterologist surgeon. He was Japanese, Dr. Shinya. And he researched green tea and he found it was true. Japanese people drink a ton of green tea. So yes, they have a low prevalence of dementia, but they also have a higher incidence of gastritis compared to Americans. Because here in the US, we don't drink as much green tea as much as in Japan, okay? Why is that? Because green tea has something called tannic acid, and tannic acid causes inflammation in the stomach, which causes gastritis. So a lot of Japanese people there's a higher prevalence of stomach cancer, just not a lot of dementia. So the point of me telling you that is, even though I'm sharing you all the good things that you can eat, you still have to do it in moderation. Okay, it's not like you just, oh, this is so good, so I'm just going to buy a whole bottle of green tea capsules and I'm just going to chug it every day. No, don't do that. Okay, and resveratrol, we've all heard of this, right? So these are found in berries, grapes, and red wine, right? So these protect your cells in the heart, brain, and kidney. Key thing is berries. Berries are going to be your superfood. Again, this is why every dietary program encourages berries. They're lowest in fructose. Your brain does need fructose, okay? I mean glucose, not fructose. It needs glucose, but you don't need, don't go out and just like chug a gallon full of berries, right? They still have fructose. It's still sugar. It still turns into sugar, right? Sugar will mess up your blood sugar metabolism. Is 1 or 2 cups of green tea a significant amount? Oh, great question, Jackie. Yes, limit yourself to 2 cups of green tea per day. And if you're going to drink green tea, do not drink ice green tea. It has to be hot or warm, steeped, okay? On a side note, the reason why I tell my patients, warmth invigorates. Cold stagnates. So the question will be, do you want your blood circulation to be invigorated or stagnated? No. Yes, and Chris said organic green tea. Yes, you should get organic green tea because yes, there's a lot of pesticides on it, right? All right, let's move through this. This was an interesting one. This is not necessarily what to eat, but it's more about not to eat. Caloric intake. I don't think caloric intake was the right term. They should have used intermittent fasting. They found that intermittent fasting, influences your cognitive function and plasticity of your brain. Intermittent fasting is where you are doing it, you're not fasting the whole day. You maybe just skip one meal. Let's say you have 3 meals in a day and you just skip one meal, okay? Because they found right here, when they did it every other day for 2 or 4 months, they observed it protects your neurons in your hippocampus, which remember is your learning, your ability to learn, and your ability to remember, right? Every other day, intermittent fasting for 2 to 4 months. I do not recommend fasting for 2 to 4 months. I know there's some fasting diets out there. I don't recommend that because when you fast, initially it's great because your body's detoxing and it's clearing things up, but then your brain is smart. It's gonna switch a gear. It's gonna start thinking, oh no, I'm not getting food. If I'm not getting food, I better stop eliminating and I better start storing. So not only does it stop eliminating, which means it retains toxins now. So your body is generating toxins and it's retaining it because it's afraid that, oh, I can't get rid of stuff because I'm not getting fed. So I don't recommend just straight on, fasting. Intermittent fasting is great. Is eating in an 8-hour window just as good? Intermittent fasting is more like 12 to 16 hours. The easiest thing that most people do is they skip breakfast. They eat an early dinner, which is about 6 p.m. And then they skip the breakfast and then they eat an early lunch around 11 a.m. That's the most commonly done. What I recommend is the opposite. I recommend you eat breakfast, eat a great lunch, and skip dinner, right? Because dinner is a time that we typically overeat, right? So that's why I recommend doing it that way. You can do this every 2 to 4 months, and then go back to regular eating, and then you can go back again. Regular eating for a month, and then go back to intermittent fasting again, okay? Intermittent fasting activates something called autophagy. Autophagy is our body's ability to self-clean. It's our self-cleaning program. That system, that program only is activated when we are fasting. That's why when you sleep, you probably have heard, if you haven't heard this, The time our bodies does the most healing is when we're sleeping. Why? Because we're fasting. When we're fasting is when autophagy kicks in. Okay. All right. Foods to avoid, right? So I introduced some of the foods that are great to eat and to supplement, right? But there are some foods that are known to accelerate the degeneration of your brain and your nervous system and your nerves, right? So if you have a family history of Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, if you want to accelerate that, then eat these foods. If you don't want that, then avoid these foods. Diets rich in saturated fats and refined sugars lead to poor neuronal performance, which is poor communication within your brain. Rats that were fed with this AKA junk food for a period of 1 to 2 months performed significantly worse on the spatial learning. It only took 1 to 2 months of eating junk food. So just imagine for those people who have eaten junk food for years, how much damage have they done to their nervous system, to their brain, right? Like all of these neurological conditions, they don't happen overnight. It's over years of accumulation. Thank God our bodies are so resilient that in the beginning, our bodies help eliminate the junk that we put into our mouths. But our bodies can take just so much, right? And then as we get older, our body is just like, I don't know about you, but like as my parents got older, they got crabbier. Okay, they got less. They were as tolerant. Okay. It may just be my parents. I don't know. But my parents eat healthy though, and they're still crap. But it just takes 1 to 2 months of crappy eating to start ruining your nervous system. First, you start feeling pain, then you start feeling tingling, numbness, right? Tremors. Those are just symptoms. Even more alarming is the high fat consumption, saturated fats, okay, exacerbated the effects of the experimental brain injury. So if you are prone to hitting your head, eating saturated fats and refined sugar, it is just making things even worse. Your brain will not recover. So what are saturated fats? Animal-based products. Tropical oils like coconut oil and palm oil. But animal-based products, saturated fats. You'll notice above, all of the foods above that were mentioned were like vegetarian, right? So I'm not saying to do vegetarian, because vegetarian by itself is also not healthy for an extended time, but being more in a vegetarian, veering more towards vegetarian is going to help your nerves more than going towards an animal-based, like paleo, definitely not Atkins, but you could do a modified paleo with less animal protein, with maybe lean meats, okay? So animal protein in general does not help your nervous system. That's the point. So the conclusion from this study, which I thought was very interesting, the brain's ability to fight neurological disorders and recover from injury is largely dependent upon our lifestyle choices, which is diet and exercise. We all know that, right? It's like everybody says that, but it's not easy to do, right? I know, I love to eat. I love to eat everything. But for me, Monday through Friday, I am super disciplined. I eat the same thing. Morning, I eat a vegan protein shake. Lunch, I eat tofu. I eat a salad. I eat one egg, 4 ounces of tofu, organic tofu, salad. My dressing is oil and vinegar that I make myself, or my in-laws make for me. And dinner, we eat organic brown rice and some type of Asian vegetable. I eat that 5 days, Monday through Friday. And so on the weekends, now that's when I cheat, okay? Because I like to eat. But majority of what I would say it's like 80-20 rule. 80% of what I eat is super healthy. So it is your choices, right? Exercise does help your nervous system, right? But exercise right? The exercise, it helps, but it doesn't help you restore and reverse as much as just the diet. But you need to do both. You can't just choose one, right? So these healthy dietary choices facilitate synaptic transmission, improve cognitive ability, and create a positive brain environment for overall health. So you want to improve, if you want to improve your synaptic transmission, or basically communication between your nerves, right? You have to do these things on a daily basis. No one is immune to these, okay? What about B vitamins? Aren't they? Yes, B vitamins are very important. And especially when we're treating neuropathy, when you go to a neurologist, they actually made a vitamin into a medication. It's called Metanex. It's just B12, Metanex. It's just a high dose of B12. It has not been shown to be better than over-the-counter supplement B12, okay? So yes, B12, B6, B1, all of these vitamins do encourage nerve growth. And yes, those are found a lot in animal protein, right? That's why I'm saying a complete vegetarian diet is not healthy. You do need animal protein, right? One of the best animal proteins to eat that can help your neurological condition. Who likes some liver and onions? I love liver. Liver, like organ meats have been given a bad rap, you know, saying, oh, it raises your cholesterol. I mean, yeah, the way you prepare it, if you fry it, right? MCT isn't good for you. No, MCT is good for you, David. It is good for you, but in mild, right? But liver, because liver, it's one of the when you eat liver, it actually helps your liver function better. And your liver is super important. It's one of the most important organs in the body. That's probably why it's the only one that can regenerate, because that's how important it is, right?